Hey YouTube, what's up? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Guess what? I'm going to be starting a new series for you guys, and that is Introduction to C++ Programming. Now, this entire tutorial series is meant for people who have no idea what they're doing when it comes to programming because they've never tried it before. So this is for absolute beginners. So if you're scared, don't be. Everything's going to go smoothly. I got you. And I hope I can show you how cool and fun programming in C++ can actually be, because I love it, and I hope you guys will too. So without further ado, let's get started with what we're gonna do. We're gonna start with creating your first Hello World program. Now this is a traditional program that most computer programmers always start with. Basically what it does is when you run your program, or also known as compiling your program, it will display the text Hello World on the screen. I know it sounds basic, but once you know how to write a Hello World program, you already know how to write most C++ programs. I know it sounds pretty crazy, but let me show you what I mean. So let's start with our program. We'll go in hashtag include and outstream. And now what this means is this is going to pull a set of certain tools that we can use later on in the program. So this is just reference for your compiler on what kind of tools it can use. Okay, and then step 2 in this case is going to be writing using a namespace standard semicolon. And what this means is this allows you to become a more efficient coder. This basically tells your compiler that, hey, this program is going to use this shortcut. So if you see this, and I know it's going to look weird, it's going to be fine because I already told you the shortcut is being used. It just saves you keyboard clicks in the future. I'll show you what I mean. But let's just get to the main part of the program, and I mean that quite literally, because any single C++ program has to have a function called main. Now, a function basically is an algorithm, and an algorithm is just a broad term for a series of steps. So if you ever hire a coder and they're like, oh, I can write this algorithm for you for this amount of money, be like, hey, tell me more, because that's a very broad thing to say. So the first part of this algorithm is going to be main, and every single C++ program needs this main function. It has to be called main. If there's no main function, your program won't run. Your compiler is going to be like, where's the main function? What's happening? So make sure you specify main as your function name. Now any single function is going to have to be succeeded by 2 curly brackets, and we do this because main isn't going to be your only function, right? Because most programs are going to involve way more steps than just one. So in order to differentiate your functions from other functions, you need to use these curly brackets. If your curly brackets aren't there, your compiler is going to get all confused. It's going to be like, oh, you told me like 5 minutes ago that this should actually do this. And so this is just a way to separate everything. So now let's get to the good stuff. Guess what? Because the gist of the program is already done. You already know how to write a C++ program. Isn't that cool? So now let's tell the program like what this first and only step is, and that is to output the text Hello World on the screen. So this is where using this line comes in handy. Hashtag include in out stream. That's what the IO stands for. And that gives us a library of tools that we can use. And one of the most common tools that you'll learn in C++ is going to be cout. This means print something or display something on the screen when you program it, or when you hit compile or run. So you have to accompany any cout by 2 less than signs. And this means anything to the right of these 2 less than signs is going to get displayed onto the computer or screen. And just the way you can think about it is these are like arrows pointing to the left. So it's getting outputted into this program, which outputs to the display. So keep that in mind. We're going to output some text, so we need quotation marks, and then we'll write hello world. Now, within a function, there can actually be multiple functions. We're going functionception here in this. And so in order to differentiate between multiple steps within a function, we need a semicolon. Even if there only is one step, like there is in this case, you still have to have that semicolon. You are 99% of the way there. We have to do one final line of text, and that is to write return 0. Semicolon, once again, remember, so we can differentiate between the steps. Return 0 basically tells your compiler, hey, this program worked awesomely. Everything went just as planned. You got the 0 returned, and you're good to shut down now because the program terminated successfully. Say if there's return -1, that means your compiler is going to freak out and be like, oh, whoa, why, like it failed. There's not a 0 here. And usually there are going to be error codes associated with that. So we just need to return 0. And this return 0 has a direct relationship with int right here, which stands for integer. And this function, this int means this function is going to export an integer. And I'm not saying displaying hello world on the screen. This is just a step. But in the step back a couple steps, and the main part and the main function of this function is to return an integer. And that's what's happening here. An integer is any whole number, yes, including 0, positive, and negative. So it looks like we have a nice piece of text here, or code. Let's copy it, paste it into any compiler you can find, and we will hit run. And look what we have here. We got hello world displayed on the screen. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and it was easy to follow. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below because I check them regularly. I love interacting with you guys. And make sure you stay tuned for the next episode because we are going to get into some cool stuff. Yes, I'm talking declarations of variables. Because what's a program without some declarable variables? If you don't know what I mean, stay tuned. Alright, talk to you guys later.